Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jeanie Marten with Jeanie Marten Real Estate, and today we're breaking down the Sachse market for June of 2026, comparing it against last year. We'll cover sales volume, inventory, pricing, days on market, and seller concessions, and then I have a few brand new Sachse business openings to tell you about. Let's get right into the numbers though. Let's start with closed sales. In June of 2025, Sachse had 32 closed residential transactions. In June of 2026, that number rose to 36 closed sales, a 12.5% increase year over year, or basically 4 more homes changing hands. That's a healthy uptick in transaction volume, and it tells me buyers are still out there closing deals. But just like last month, we need to look at that alongside inventory and pricing before we draw conclusions about market strength. So let's keep going. Active inventory is where the story gets a little more interesting. Pulling June figures going back 5 years from MLS historical data, in June of 21 we had 32 active listings. In June of 2022 we had 72 active listings. In June of 2023, 65. In June of 24, 88, see the trend. In June of 2025, 132 active listings. And in June of 2026, 134 active listings. So inventory in June of 2026 is essentially flat compared to June of 2025, up by just 2 listings, or about 1.5%. That's a real shift from what we saw a month earlier, when May 2026 had actually dipped below May of 2025. In June, inventories have plateaued at a historically elevated level, still roughly 4 times what we saw back in 2021. What this tells buyers and sellers, we are not seeing inventory continue to climb rapidly like we did from 22 to 25, but we also aren't seeing it shrink. We're sitting at a high, stable plateau. Buyers still have real choices. Sellers are still competing with well over 100 other active listings in Sachse alone. Now pricing. In June of 2025, the median closed sales price in Sachse was $470,412. In June of 2026, it was $466,000, essentially flat, down less than 1% year over year. Looking at the longer trend, in June of 2022, we saw $470,000. This is near the COVID era peak. In June of 2023, $415,600, a steep drop. In June of 2024, $433,000. In June of 2025, $470,412. In June of 2026, $466,000. So June 2026 pricing is basically matching June 2022 levels after a dip and recovery in between. That's a more stable read than what we saw in May, where prices were still well below 2022 peak. June tells a slightly different, steadier story. One nuance worth flagging, the median list price actually rose from $437 in June of 2025 to $449 in June of 2026. Sellers are asking for more, even though what's actually closing is roughly flat. That gap between asking and achieved price is something sellers need to price around realistically. At the street level, June 2026 closings ranged enormously. The lowest price closing was $192 for a smaller 3-bedroom home on Tina Street in North Hills Estates, built in 1985. The highest was $700,000 for a 4,960 square foot 6-bedroom home on Seth Avenue in Heritage Park, though that one sat on the market for 310 days before finally closing. Most of the real activity, your bread and butter Sachse transactions, is happening in the 400 to 600 range, mirroring Woodbridge, Sachse Farms, and Quail Hollow. Median days to sell improved slightly from 25 days in June of 25 to 22 days in June of 26. That's a modest but real improvement in speed. But just like every month this year, this is a bifurcated market. Some June 2026 closings sold in 4 to 8 days. Fast-moving, well-priced homes in Quail Hollow and Woodbridge. Others sat for 224, 246, even 310 days before finally closing. In June of 2025, one listing on Falcon Crest Court sat a staggering 399 days before it finally sold. The takeaway hasn't changed. Price and condition dictate speed. Well-positioned homes move quickly, everything else waits. Sale to list price ratio ticked up from 98.5% in 2025 to 99.4% in June of 2026. Sellers are getting slightly closer to their asking prices than they were a year ago, which lines up with the tighter days on market numbers. On seller concessions, I pulled individual closed sales and looked at the seller paid field. In June of 2026, I saw sellers contributing anywhere from $200 to $5,000 toward buyers' closing costs on a number of transactions, while plenty of others closed with zero concessions. June of 2025 showed a similar mixed pattern, contributions ranging from $500 to $5,000 on some deals, none on others. The bottom line, concessions are still very much in play and remain a normal part of negotiations in this market. Buyers, don't be afraid to ask. Now, for some fresh community news I found from the City of Sachse and the Sachse Chamber of Commerce. First, Chick-fil-A on Miles Road. Construction is actively progressing at the southeast corner of Miles Road and the Station Boulevard. The City of Sachse posted a construction update in late June confirming things are coming along nicely with a projected opening in October of 2026. This location is also part of Chick-fil-A's own recently announced expansion of 9 new restaurants across the DFW area in 2026. Second, 7 Brew drive-through coffee locations has been announced at the Woodbridge Parkway at Highway 78, giving that corridor another quick service option near the new McDonald's site, which itself remains under construction with no confirmed opening date yet. And finally, a brand new local restaurant, Hero King, has opened at 3115 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 105, a nice new addition to Sachse's growing local dining scene. So, to recap, closed sales are up 12.5% year over year. Inventory has leveled off at a historically high but stable point. Median prices are essentially flat. Days on market improved slightly, and sellers are still offering concessions in a meaningful share of deals. Plus, Sachse keeps adding new dining options with Chick-fil-A on the way, 7 Brew construction starting soon, and Hero King opened just this month. If you have questions about your home, your neighborhood, or what this market means for your next move, reach out anytime. I'm Jeanie Marten with Jeanie Marten Real Estate. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.